I've written fiction such as Cake Around the Corner and some nonfiction like A New Reality. These two books are selling on Gumroad at the moment, which is an e-commerce site for people like me. These books have shaped the way I write and the perspective I am comfortable with writing in the first person. The reason I do so is to make myself the character which I am writing for. Like now, I am saying I, not as a way to focus on the person writing the script, but to focus on the mindset in the way that writing is placed upon a document or sheet. I could change the way I say words and add a bit of a tang to it if I wanted. That would change the entire outlook of my supposed character. As an author, I delve into multiple genres, getting to tell different stories with different types of perspectives and inspiration for the work. This time, I can talk about my newest book, Fins Above. Xenofiction, as a genre, primarily focuses on non-human perspectives and interactions. Xenofiction can include anything from fantasy, sci-fi, or animal fiction. Animals such as wolves, foxes, rabbits, and birds can be the first to pop up in your mind, but beings such as aliens, robots, and mythological creatures if possible. Rarer species are usually amphibians, fish, and ungulates. This doesn't stop others, such as myself, from rushing into rarer and unusual xenofiction. Some xenofiction literature you may have heard of are in the likes of Bambi by Felix Salten, The Call of the Wild by Jack London, The Fox and the Hound by Daniel P. Mannix, Guardians of Ga'Hoole by Katrin Lasky, and Watership Down by Richard Adams. There are many more you are probably waiting for, but those will do for now. The history surrounding xenofiction is very complex, as the beings on Earth have been speculating what the animal thinks since we have killed, feasted, and domesticated them. We, as all humans are just as curious as nature. Humans are nature. So there is no question that we would act in accordance with such nature when it comes to an inquiry about how the animal lives. How do they eat? Do they share the scraps? Do they invent the wearing of clothing? Are their clothes simply saddles or bags? Do they modify themselves so that when a threat is near, they get attacked with stones? Do they grow generations of natural intelligence or side alongside a human and learn within 3 years? Questions like those are the reason xenofiction exists. Even if not to answer them, they are raised for the purpose of seeing animals like they are human, and then understanding that they are not human and never will be. This goes the same for half humans such as the mythical mermaid or centaur. Since they are half human or have human ancestors, should they be treated as humans? And does xenofiction ever cover their experiences? To answer that, we must understand what being human is. Is it being intelligent? If so, a corvid can be human. If being a human means being featherless and the ability to be bipedal, that means a monkey is a human. What is a human? A human, to me, is a warm-blooded mammal with the brain to comprehend the existence of time and the presence of the solar system. To know is not enough to be human. You must also be able to dissect the meaning of both concepts, to understand that they are concepts of our mind, of our personal human experience, and are not universal concepts or pieces of importance. To be a person, no matter the species, you must have to have a name and a place amongst others. So if a human means dissecting concepts, we must apply that in order to answer whether or not mermaids are humans. If mermaids are humans, they should have the same concepts and the same ability to dissect such concepts. What about merfolk that are inherently not human? Giving a human trait to a merfolk only makes them human when it comes to presentation, but in every other aspect, they will never be human. And that is what makes the merfolk in Fins Above qualified for xenofiction. Obvious spoilers for Fins Above as a whole in the first book. Fins Above is a series of xenofiction novellas surrounding mermaids, sirens, and the waters they reside in or by. The first in its series, Fins Above the Calling, specifically surrounds a catfish named Sarga and how he eventually reveals that he is a siren to the merfolk around him. The first book has 30 chapters and 218 pages of mermaids, war, and drama. The novella is a reflection of the need for more diverse species xenofiction in the world. The website states that the world of Fins Above has humans who have integrated their lives with mimics, the shapeshifters of the world, and the planet has known many who completely leave their human bodies behind until death. The mimics themselves are not humans or animals, but are akin to aliens. This details the primary distinction between humans and the merfolk, the issues of outsiders and species integration. In the book, the narrative follows Sarga as he struggles with becoming older and growing into his designated siren size, which is that of a human. He finds himself able to see visions and speak prophecies because of his siren lineage, and ultimately ends up causing his downward spiral and the destruction of many groups called shoals. Because he is a siren, traditionalist characters like Shelltooth seek to remove outsiders and weaker members in fear of spreading contamination and slowing down the shoal. Shelltooth even leads a traditionalist group that wants to maintain those values because of the fear of imbalancing marine life is mixed in with the fear of their ancestors looking down upon them. Humans have accepted and transcended tradition. To them, it is more of a playbill for a musical than a rule book. Sirens are welcomed to the world by humans, but are still seen as non-human and alien, and so are subsequently allowed to be hunted. Secondary distinctions between humans and merfolk are their habitats, their cultures, their biology, and their overall perspective of the world. The merfolk in Fins Above rely heavily on the human species for the controlling of other species that are predators or prey. Humans have almost left the oceans alone when it comes to exploration, and the merfolk are allowed to keep their designated area of safety called Merfolk Bay. This bay and everything in it is guaranteed to balance life and death. So the common belief for when the visions of the merfolk seers start losing power is that there is an imbalance that the ancestors found out about. The ocean gives creatures diverse bodies, language, barriers, and cultures underwater, to the point where even if the merfolk appear very humanized, they are only using human treasures and trading shipments as a way to keep their societies alive. They are doing everything they can in order to stay within the ocean and to keep the balance with other species and themselves. Yet it means recognizing that humans will not only be useful, but integral to staying alive underwater. Rare xenofiction are the ones that make me think about the boundary between human and non-human. We have thrown the word human around so much, but it means what it says on the tin's fake label. How do we draw the line between what is human and what isn't human if we don't accept that everything we do humanize will never be human? That was one of my reasons for writing Fins Above. It was the idea of making a beast realize that it is not human and never will be. Sarga, as a character, is not human. His siren lineage is not that of a human lineage, and the framing of him as a human is only there to serve as a description to what he looks like. He will always be a siren, even if he looks human. He will never know what a human family is like, or why a human would want to be a siren. He has no clue, because he isn't human, and that perspective of want or familial bond is not present for him in any human way. I wrote Fins Above as a way to express that what cannot be human can sometimes look human, and they can sometimes wrestle with the concepts of the solar system and time, but can never dissect it to mean something other than what they see from where they are. Time to a mermaid will always look like the moving sun, and the solar system will always be the concept of the ocean and land being planets of their own, with the sun being a star that spins around them. The ideas that they hold are not lesser because they are untrue or because they are non-human, but the ideas are not human and are not true to human perspective, making it xenofiction. Writing rare xenofiction like this opened a new brain module for me, honestly. It helped me see that the world around me has always been open to new viewpoints and opinions, that the entire human experience is one big ball of opinions and viewpoints balled up into one in order to justify society, law, or logic, that humans understand so many things differently from one another that can easily classify them as non-human for thinking other than the normal. We can even cast out others that don't fit the usual cardboard cutout. Just like the mermaids and fins above, humans are diverse and can think for themselves. Shelltooth is a great example of this, as she shuns a lot of non-traditional members of her species because she thinks differently from them. To her, those shunned people are the non-humanized humans of their society. They are the outcasts. And if humans can shut out other humans for being different, what stops a beast from doing the same? Does that make the beast human if they shun their own, or does it simply make them prejudiced? Writing xenofiction is a hit or miss situation, where you can either write really bad fiction or really good fiction. But there are sacrifices and missing pegs to everything you do. Some xenofiction has great prose, but takes the story nowhere. Some xenofiction has perfect characters, but is defeated when it comes to execution of their arcs. There is no way to tick every box with, no matter how many tier lists you do. Is writing Mermaid Xenofiction worth the trouble of expanding on? Yes. Mermaids do not have to be as complex as what Fins Above offers, especially since the series has more installed for it. Writing xenofiction that deals with mermaids only gets hard when you make it harder for yourself to draw the line between human and non-human. A cat is not human, but what about a cat that can negotiate business details in an alien vocal language? It is up to you whether or not you make it harder for yourself to digest. Xenofiction, as a whole, is a broad category of whatever and whoever wants a story from a non-human perspective. It is also a chance at constructing a world different and vast, in which the land unfurls itself to be dangerous, not only because the other species, but also because of your very own people. To me, it is worth writing about. I am no longer talking cartoon dogs, but am sharing the ideas of how merfolk could survive the oceans. I no longer think of humanity as an issue, as an evil, but as a chess piece that offers shelter and supplies as a way to shape their world into an underwater New York. I'm writing about humanity as a part of nature that is curious and in constant want of new perspectives, to the point where they will forcefully shape the world of another species in order to produce something just as curious as they are.